Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 63. Next up for us is Singapore, and we open with a regulation vote change, presumably the final one of the year. It's financial changes, and definitely not for the good. I mean, we never come anywhere near the cost cap. It's only rising by 5 million, but we certainly don't want to see that happen. So we're going to vote against this one, as you know, the big teams are only going to get stronger with that. And next up, we have an underfloor design that is complete. Now, this is huge because we were still literally on the first underfloor of the entire season, the one that we did research on last year. We've never updated it throughout this year, and we've really seen our position fall off as a result. Ultimately, big mistake focusing on other parts first and not keeping the underfloor as the best one, because that's where we had gotten. It was the best underfloor. Now it's lower mid, just like that. The vote comes back and it's a tie, but the tiebreaker is in favor. So, again, another increase for next year. Following the underfloor upgrade being complete, we move on to our third and final one of the period, which is a chassis upgrade. And we're going to try something new, which is intense. Now, I've always done normal. I've done rushed once or twice to make things happen within a time frame, but intense is a different style, and I'm surprised I hadn't used it. It comes at a cost, 200% of cost. But in the case of the smaller parts, the chassis, the side pods, the suspension, the cost is low anyway, so a 200% additional cost isn't bad. But what Intense does, your engineers will put in extra hours to optimize this design. The cost will be higher, but you will gain a greater car part expertise bonus, which will improve future designs of this car part. So what we're doing here ultimately is the upgrade is identical. We're going to spend 3 times the original value to make it happen, but the future progress, basically, it's like you could say the record keeping, the data keeping of the project is going to lead to a better state for future designs. So it's not about this upgrade, it's about the next upgrade, but it's going to be a huge boost for the next upgrade. Meanwhile, here's a look at the new underfloor and just how important it is to upgrade your underfloor on a regular basis. Speed. We're talking about nearly 1/10 of a kilometer an hour. Acceleration going up. Cornering going up by 2/100ths. Medium speed, 2/100ths. High speed, almost 2/100ths. So across the board, for all 3 types of cornering, we gain roughly 2/100ths. That's big. That is big. And in terms of the rank, you can see top speed going up to 15th, but cornering going from, we were all the way down to 19th. We were first at the beginning of the season in low speed cornering. We are now 19th. We are last. Every single team has passed us in low speed cornering. This will get us back up to 9th. Medium speed, likewise, back up to 9th from 15th, and high speed up past a couple of teams. Sitting on that underfloor, oh my goodness, it was so costly. And I'm really disappointed in myself for allowing it to go so long to try to bring up our weaker areas. It's going to take a balance. We knew how to get ahead. Once we did that, we tried to balance things. Yeah, it has not gone well. It has not gone well. I had the right approach in the first place, not in the second. And finally, we are headed to Singapore next, Marina Bay Circuit, and last year provided our best race of this series so far. It was phenomenal. If you remember correctly, it actually started with a bad incident of Porsche going down DNF late in the race, crashed into the wall. We had about 13 laps remaining coming out of, it was either a virtual safety car or a full safety car, I don't remember which, but either way, we made the risky move and we hopped into the pits with Albon, who was like 7th place, and we were out of the points. We came out of that in 11th or 12th, but with fresh soft tires and a handful of laps to go by the time we went green, maybe 10 of them. Took us the first 4 or 5 laps to get past the other cars that had decent compounds on, but we were ultimately faster then. The front cars, the 2 Ferraris, 2 laps to go when we went around them. The 2 Red Bulls and Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, final lap. Final lap passes to claim the victory for that one. It was what an amazing experience that was to win that race.
We're here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit and the Singapore Grand Prix is just about to start. The name Singapore means City of Lions, and this weekend Formula One will be roaring into action. The bumpy street surfaces here make this a challenging circuit for the drivers, and the humidity causes them to lose as much as 3 kilos over the course of a race. But it's also tough on the cars, with 23 corners to tackle each and every lap. Good low-speed downforce will make all the difference here. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Formula One.
And we've already gotten our banker laps in. Ricardo already had a moment on the out lap for this final run of Q1. But here we are in decent position, 9th and 11th. It's been a little while since we've really been in this sort of position. The new underfloor is obviously a huge part of what has done that. But Albon is right up on the heels of Stroll now. So serious pace advantage compared to Stroll is leading us, as Stroll's last place right now, leading us right onto his heels. So I don't expect Albon's going to improve his time, but at P10, looks like he'll be okay. There's already 4 guys behind him, and he's clearly gaining on Stroll. Pourchaire, meanwhile, though, not quite as safe, but it looks like he will be okay because there's already 3 guys behind him. He only needs to hold off 2 more. And that does it. There's 5 guys behind him. So Pourchaire didn't put in a great first lap, only improved slightly on the second lap, and that'll be P11 and P14. But used set on the second run. Albon held up. Pourchaire improved, but only slightly, which means his first lap wasn't very good. But are we going to be capable of getting out of Q2 is a bigger question. Out on our banker lap, Hamilton's going to get in the way of Pourchaire, maybe right at the end of the lap, but based on the lap times, I think Hamilton just stayed far enough ahead of us. It's a decent lap time. It's not a great lap time. Magnussen's going to split us. It's P7 and P9 for the moment, and it's 11th and 13th once everybody's gotten in their first run. Knowing how close it is and that we are... It's more about the fight to get to Q3 than it is about position once we get to Q3, so we're not going to preserve tires. We're going to use the fresh set on the final run to see if we can get the most. We are going to need more by a quarter of a second as everybody is heading out. And we are in position, just Magnussen behind us. And I think this might be it here in Q2, or at least I assume that it probably will be. But let's go ahead and bring it on down, and we'll ride on board with Pourchaire on his lap here for a lap around Marina Bay in Singapore. That is an Alpine ahead of us, a little close for my liking positionally. Not necessarily a very good gap that we've picked out on this one. It's weird how the AI is so efficient at picking out those gaps, but then when you click that button, my oh my, it just throws you in kind of wherever. Does not always give you a very good gap, so I'm worried about Pourchaire's ability to improve his time. Norris, Ricardo, Russell, Hamilton have all crossed the line, and they're the front cars. McLaren's, Mercedes at the front. Sainz goes top. That's worrying because, well, you know, our battle with Ferrari shows the 2 Ferraris having quite good times. Pourchaire P10 for now. Albon is P12. Gasly has a good chance to bump us out. No, that's it. Pourchaire's going to make it to Q3. Only just Albon, just P13 for him. Perez is also out though, so at least there's a Red Bull out, but we're not battling them at this point. We're battling Ferrari. Ferrari looks like they could be taking a lot of points this weekend with both cars up there and competitive. And, we are anywhere from half a second to almost a second off the pace of the front runners. Could be a difficult race for us. We're definitely not in the same state we were a year ago at this point, and definitely not in the same state we were at the beginning of this season, where we would have done quite well on a track like this. First run for Q3, everybody's out. I clicked the button the moment things started, and we still were only third one on track. Our first lap, it's not last. Leclerc actually is, so that's good. We're ahead of a Ferrari, and Sainz only fifth. And that was on our used set. And we'll have the fresh set for the final run. And one more run here in Q3 for Pourchaire. Currently P9, only ahead of Leclerc, and that's going to be difficult to stay ahead of. It's going to be difficult to beat Guan Yu Zhou, but everybody else is on the used set that they already ran in their first run, and of course we do it in reverse, which is going to give us a little bit of an advantage here. But Pourchaire, seriously, outside of Norris, everybody else has been faster, and then Pourchaire puts in a slow first sector. Leclerc, slow second sector. Pourchaire's down again. What? The one guy who should be improving, where everybody else should be getting worse, is going the exact opposite. So I'm feeling we're starting from P10. And Pourchaire does not improve a single sector. And Leclerc, though, Sainz and Leclerc only 7th and 9th. So maybe, just maybe, they don't have as much pace as it was looking like they had there in Q2. The McLarens and the Mercedes are quickest here. Red Bull, not quite as fast, though Verstappen always faster than Perez. Perez outside of the top 10. Albon outside of the top 10. But, maybe we can keep up.
Race day has arrived and the time has come for these drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. This weekend, Red Bull displayed promise during qualifying. Now they need to capitalize on their grid position and get a good race under their belts. And the race will be taking place under blue skies. That means the teams should be able to apply their strategies without any added complications.
Well, we've got some fascinating strategies that are sure to be applied today. But for now, all eyes shift to the starting line of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Only under fueling by a single lap and going much longer than what is expected on the soft to medium strategy. However, the soft to medium strategy that calls for that early pit stop, which track position is important here, so I can see where that one's coming from. But those that are going soft hard, or those that are going soft medium, or those going medium soft, will at least be before the medium softs. And with those pitting super early, we'll still be on the soft compound. We'll still have good pace for a while now. Does that mean that others might undercut us? It is possible. But one thing was clear about that strategy is you were going to be slow as Daniel Ricciardo, Red Bull at Monaco, where he had, what was his issue? Like a gearbox issue? And was slow as molasses, but nobody could get around him because it was Monaco. Now, Singapore is not the easiest place to pass either. But we've already seen with this year's car, IRL car, and with much better tires, you can make a pass here. We saw it with Albon last year. So I think everybody else pitting 15 laps before us or 10 laps before us, and getting onto the mediums that much earlier means the mediums at the end of the race are going to be pitiful. And I think balancing it out could go pretty well for us. I'm planning on stretching a couple extra laps for Albin as he's a couple spots down. We'll see how that kind of pans out. His car setup though was not great. Had some trouble getting that one set this race weekend. It just did not like the balancing, and we started at under 10% on our first run.
Clear skies tonight, with the drivers having now arrived at their grid positions. Here's Williams. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalize on it? And then we've got Alex Albon. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. And we're just moments away now. We're just moments away from the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And we're racing here in Singapore only with a light under fuel. I think that's going to be something we should be able to cover up pretty easy over the course of this race. But poor Cher trying to get ahead of Leclerc here to get into P9. That would be a good start for us. And actually getting up beside Sainz, so that would be even better if we could get ahead of the two Ferraris early on in this race. Meanwhile, Albin is still P12 behind Perez. And Porsche for now has it. And he has pulled ahead. That is P8 for Porsche. Fantastic start.
And a new position just gained by Williams.
I'm going to stay aggressive for a little bit longer here. But it seems like there are positions, available for overtakes here. And as we've already seen, you can make an overtake here, right? It is possible. All over the back of Guan Yu Zhou. Guan Yu Zhou in the AlphaTauri is quite fast, but Vettel only P17, so maybe this is not necessarily their strong track. It might be more straight line speed, which of course the Red Bulls are quite known for that. So you can see the Red Bulls and the AlphaTauris, the Honda-powered machines, are a little bit down here compared to other tracks. So yes, I think that might be high downforce track means Guan Yu Zhou could be somebody that can be beat.
Good job, good job.
Porsche, 90%. Oh shoot, he didn't have any fresh tires. He didn't have a set for the race. I thought we had one set locked for the race, which we should have been using today. We're gonna have to get him tone it down soon, because yeah, starting at 90%.
Back off.
It's going to make it hard to get where we need to be. We keep the pressure on otherwise, though. Meanwhile, Albin is up to P11. He's gotten around Perez. He's all over the back of Leclerc now. Let's keep the pressure on for him as well. If he can get around the Ferraris, then we are looking, golden for our head-to-head with the Ferrari. So we'll keep an eye as Albin tucks back in behind Leclerc. So no overtake for now. Last chance here. Can we get an overtake done on Guan Yu Zhou without DRS? Looks like the answer is no, so let's go ahead and tuck in.
We want to leave court, please.
And meanwhile, back with Albin. Let's see if we can get one of the Ferraris before. I think we need to wait until we have DRS assistance.
You can afford to drop back.
Let's settle in for both.
Yes.
We'll wait for that DRS assistance.
DRS enabled.
I'm trying to remember where the DRS zone is. I think it's in here, right? Just the one on this track? I don't think you get one on the main straight. It's too short. Or maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while. Yes, DRS right there. Okay. What, turn 5? So you have 1, 2, 3. That's technically 4, and then 5. So coming out of turn 5, you have DRS, and then I think that's the only zone. Or is there a second? There shouldn't be one here. I think this straight's too short as well. Guan Yu Zhou already a second and a half down from Ricardo, so those front 6 look like they're going to pull away. Hamilton also losing ground on the front 4. Again, I don't mind those front 6. Our race today, and for the coming races, we're looking kind of directly at the Ferraris. We're focusing pretty heavily on them for the coming races. Porsche 0.8 seconds down. I think we're gonna have to be a little more aggressive. But how do you be aggressive, right? Where do you make up that time? We need to make the tires last, and they're off to a bad start. We're gonna have to recover fuel at some point, so this isn't helping for that. And battery's useful, but there's only so much you're gonna do there. You try to use that for overtakes. Alright. Once we get to the end of this straight, we will back off, but I'm assuming we're going to be able to close this down a bit, especially with the DRS assistance. And we do. Alright, so backing off, while Albin, half a second behind Leclerc. Looks like we do not have the pace to really go forward right now on either without a solid push. And that's the thing about, I think, the late race strategy. Let's check in on car by car strategy. Only 4 cars for the mediums. Perez is one of those, so no wonder he's off the pace. Gasly, Vettel, and Tsunoda. Everybody else on the softs. Albin. Okay, the front 10 are all on used tires. So the front 10 all have that 84, 85, 86%. So Porsche is kind of right with them even after pushing. Albin, though, first one at the 91%, who can definitely extend, which we were planning on extending by about 2 laps, and that's definitely 2 laps worth. Porsche, looks like we got up beside Guan Yu Zhou there for a moment, but tucked back in. Zhou now 2 seconds down, Ricardo 1.3 seconds down, so he and Hamilton are losing the front 4 just slowly, and they're just out of DRS range. Tires are the way to go to come forward. Was that good pace we had in the early laps. Porsche gets around Guan Yu Zhou. But we're 1.7 behind those guys in front. Side by side. No DRS.
It's a stomping lap.
Albin gets the fastest lap.
Keep the head down. Keep the head down. Don't know what we have left.
Ocon takes it immediately after. I go aggressive for Albin for a moment. He gains 0.6. But then he pulled Ocon along as well. Magnussen's 2.6, so there's a train forming. There's Alonso at 3, Schumacher at 5. So we're seeing some gaps that the field is spreading out. And Porsche does get around Guan Yu Zhou eventually. On P7, about 1.8 behind those guys ahead. Porsche's pace relative to Russell, because that's really the comparison as the Ricardo Hamilton group caught those front 4. So our pace relative to Russell, we've lost 0.2 over the last lap. And then you go through that DRS zone and those guys pull away even further. So straight line speed. Straight line speed is where we're hurting. We lost nearly a second. At least 0.6 down straight. Porsche are now 3 seconds back, so us being at the front of the group is definitely not good for our pace, as we were, 1.6 when it was Guan Yu Zhou. DRS helped us get around him, and eventually I think he'll get back around us, as he keeps getting close and does. There you go. Porsche. Oh, double over. No, triple. Porsche just lost
That's
3
positions.
Three.
Let's take a closer look. Now
Without
look
the
at
DRS.
this. It was
He
the
gets
Alpha
caught
Tauri
out,
driver involved.
forced to the outside, and you're going to see, yeah, no DRS. So then down the straight. So this is that double. The first
Moving up a
DRS
place
zone
there.
gets Joe side by
Excellent work
side.
from them.
So then we have a bad entry, and then down the
That's going
straight
to be a
without
big
DRS.
blow to the team.
Both Ferraris squeeze by. So yeah, that is a big blow for the team as we drop to back down to 10th and 11th. Is he closing us back in? Oh, here we go into the pits. Guan Yu Zhou, Leclerc, Ocon, and back markers as well. First round of pit stops on lap 15. We're planning on waiting much longer than this. Those guys have got to be coming out on the hards. They are. Leclerc, Ocon, Zhou, Stroll, Alonso, choosing clean air track position. But the hard compound, how much off the pace are they going to be? Verstappen as well. That's got to be another one on the hard compound. Lap times, Norris, a 1:41.8. We are about 1.2 seconds off his pace. That's medium runners. The hard runners, though, slower than us. Similar to us. Guan Yu Zhou, 130 flat-ish, where we're a 131. He's basically a 143.1, 143.2 this time. So yes, we are very similar in pace to those that are running on the hard compound, which means they're not gaining on us. Safety car is coming out. Safety car is coming out. We're going to pit.
Okay, there's
Both
a big
cars
crash.
dive off into the pits.
We can
Oh,
take
it's
a
Guan
look
Yu
now.
Zhou that has crashed.
Let's take another look.
That's one of
There
our
we have Joe.
competitors in the field today. Oh,
There's the
just
crash.
straight on. That's that tight hairpin before you head over the second bridge. And he just did not
That
get
was
the
a
braking
bitter
right.
blow for the team. And it
Choose pit. There was an update a while back for the AI to kind of opt into it a little bit, but those guys on the mediums, they need to extend a lot more to be good to go. So realistically, we're the only ones left. 2.53, 2.593 for Albon, 2.573 for Porsche, and Albon is going to come back out in P11 and then get passed on track by a car who can't pass him in signs. We came out behind Sonoda. Wow,
So be mindful
game.
of
Just
Yes, okay.
effed us over.
Lifting coast level 3.
And Porsche
Copy.
comes out back in P14. But fresher tires than everybody around us, right with the Ferraris. And you got those guys that still have yet to pit and now have no advantage over the field. So they've kind of screwed themselves out of this race.
We want to leave court, please.
Let's go and get everything nice and right here. But Albon absolutely got screwed on that one. So for those who don't know the rule, there's the white line coming across as you exit pit road. Whoever crosses that line first as you're exiting pit road, that's position. So Sonoda was ahead. He had us by a small margin, but we came out just behind him. Sainz was another full car length back. And so instead of tucking in behind Sonoda like we were supposed to, all of a sudden we wiggled, freaked out, and then tucked in behind Sainz. And Sainz gets P11 and Albon gets 12. now having a look. Can we get up beside here before we get down the straight? That's good. That's good. Come on now. Continue on. Oh, he squeezes us into the wall there. Jeez. Well, we don't have the straight line speed. So this is not the place for the overtake either. Almost get up to the inside, but overtake failed. Once again, cut off by Sonoda. Again, we keep having a look, but Sonoda cuts us off before we fully get up alongside. Here's where that accident went straight into the wall there. In the F1 game, I've done that many times. I've done that many times. That's a very, very difficult corner to get right. And Albin just constantly having a look.
Check the DRS.
Battery empty.
Yeah.
When have you even used it? We finally get up beside Sonoda without the battery. There we go. This is going to do it. This is going to do it. Still side by side, though. We'll have the inside here, and that should complete the move. Not quite. Sonoda, now we are. Now we're fully ahead. And Sonoda is 1.5 down, so that's going to back those guys up behind us, including Leclerc. And most of those guys are on the hard compound, so we can see us pulling away a good bit and opening those gaps up. So that's big for our race. And with three guys ahead of us pitting, we should get both cars into the points. But beating Sainz is going to be tricky, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to tire wear, where we have that 10% advantage over those guys in front of us. And these guys pitting, and gosh, I don't know. How are they going to do it compared to everybody else? Because everybody else didn't go deep on their first stint, but are going to go very deep on their second stint. So are these guys going to go very deep on the first stint? I'm not quite sure when it is that they are going to pit, but the sooner they pit, the harder it's going to be for them to get to the end on the softs. Leclerc gets around Sonoda finally, but he's 4.2 seconds down and on the hard compound where we're on the medium. I just don't think he's going to necessarily have a very good pace, though, with that DRS boost and the pass. He got back to 3.3, but it's already growing once again now that he's at the front of that group. Albin has two problems. One, he's got a very low battery. Two, he's got an extra 0.3 of a kilogram of weight deficit. Helps his pace a little bit, but he's got to recover that here at some point. We're past the halfway point, and we are struggling to keep up. We're having to go aggressive for a few turns just to keep pace with these guys, which means lifting and coasting. Well, it's a little problematic. Slight deficit. Multiple cars have crashed. It's ahead of us. It's ahead of us. And there's an Alpine spun out there. There's an Alpine spun out there. And safety car.
Safety car.
Safety car is coming out. Are those guys going to pit
positive.
this time? We're not pitting. There's no reason to pit from here. So we've already made our one and only stop.
DRS is currently disabled.
We're going to wait until we get past pit road to do anything.
Let's have a look.
Well, let's see what
Daniel
happened with this
Ricciardo
crash.
involved here.
Ricardo in the Alpine. Oh, he's got
There's
to
the
wipe
collision.
out.
It's
Ooh.
caused absolute carnage.
The AlphaTauri. Thought he was going to take out the Mercedes as well, so we didn't see the AlphaTauri further
The
off.
team
But
are
that
really
could be a DNF for
disappointed
both
with
of
that.
those guys.
Let's hope it doesn't set them.
I'm thinking that was Vettel who was holding up the show. It was. They are. Wait, Guan Yu Zhou's out of the race as well. So both AlphaTauris are out of the race. That's right. Guan Yu Zhou was the earlier crash. So both AlphaTauris out of the race, and then Ricardo picks up a penalty, and it was Vettel he wiped out. Vettel was the one who was slow. Perez into the pits. That's why I didn't want to slow up yet. Gasly into the pits. So they are using this one. So yes, apparently the AI is smarter about doing this now. And they are opting to pit under the safety car. Will we come out ahead of them? Sonoda into the pits as well. That's going to take care of those guys, and we do. We are ahead of them. That's P7. That is P8. So Albon in P7, Pourchaire in P8. As we go to restart, we still don't have a full battery for Albon. It was a pretty short safety car, barely 2 laps. And tire wear, of course, was helped. Fuel was helped, but it's not fixed yet. We still have half a kilogram to go on Pourchaire, 7/10 to go on Albon. So situation is better with 21 laps to go, but it is not a done deal yet. But Albon up beside Sainz. This is the pass. This is the one we need. And it's not done yet. And it is done.
Nice work.
Okay, balanced, standard, neutral.
Lifting
We
coast
still have
level
some battery
3.
left.
Okay, copy.
All right. On to Pourchaire
And
now.
there's an overtake from Williams.
Pourchaire looking to get up beside Sainz. He is side by side with him. Can he continue on? No, he's going to tuck in. We would have had the inside for that corner and really moved forward quite a bit had we continued on. Still backing off for now.
To push.
Based on tire wear, you can see we are a little bit good now thanks to the safety car. But that's still coming right down to it at the end of the race. And there's a lot of guys that probably did not preserve as much as we did during that stretch. Oh, blocked off by Sainz. Pourchaire got out of it. He was coming up fast beside him, and then Sainz comes across the track and just blocks him into the wall. We don't dive the other direction to kind of switch back on him. We just kind of stayed with it, and now our fuel is just as bad as Albon's. But if we can get ahead of Sainz, that's going to be the key. And there we go. We are up beside him. Well beside him. We're going to have the inside. No, why? Pourchaire, you fucking idiot. Jeez, we were more than up beside him. We were half a car length ahead of him and had the inside for the corner, and we back out of it instead of him. Batteries used up. On the attack. Got the outside there, inside here. We're going to have the inside again for the next one, but it's going to switch back the other way. Make this pass. Make this pass. We are more than a second behind now, though. 1.8. This battle has cost them.
DRS
We're
enabled.
losing Albon.
Okay, good job, good job.
But there's the overtake. Overtake is done. Overtake is done. I wouldn't mind if Albon drives away and Pourchaire battles with the 2 Ferraris and holds them up. Meanwhile, Leclerc also 1.4 behind and on the hard compound. Albon. Back to standard. Alright, we're going to spend the next few laps trying to get Albon's fuel right. That is the goal for the next 8 laps or so, is get that right. I don't see how it says we had a bad corner. We had a bad corner, and we're now over a second behind, so we're going to have to push one bad corner. Make sure we get back within that range, close this thing back up. There you go. 1.8 for Pourchaire, by the way. So he is maybe, just maybe, still going to get back in this thing. But Leclerc behind Magnussen and 2.5 seconds behind, so they are falling back. Magnussen, last car on the mediums. We have 9 cars on the mediums, then we have the hards, then we have guys on soft compound. So they were going medium soft in opposite direction. Have they pit too soon, or, well, track position, I think, is going to be just too much of a hassle for them. They are so far down. They'll make some passes, but they're not going to make a lot. All right, 4/10, 5/10. Let's conserve. Ooh, big lockup ahead of us. And, oh, there's a crash. So the Red Bull has a big lockup, and in trying to avoid him, the Mercedes ends up going into the wall, and that's Hamilton.
There's been a crash.
So
Sounds
Hamilton
like a
has
single
crashed,
car.
and it's Verstappen that has caused it. Wow. Those two doing that? Surprise, surprise. 3.5 seconds to the front.
Doing what you're doing.
Albin is now P5.
And a
Pourchaire
new
is
position,
P6, so he's
just
back
gained
around
by
Sainz
Williams.
and just 4/10 behind. And does Verstappen have damage? Was he involved in anything else? Did he actually come together with Hamilton, who's down to 18th now? So Verstappen takes out a competitor. Nothing new. Nothing new there. He seems really off the pace. 3.6, right? We are lifting big time. .9 is the gap ahead. Verstappen is still very close behind, but Pourchaire, I'd love to see if Pourchaire can now get around, but Pourchaire still has the fuel situation. Albin, though, out in front, cannot conserve fuel, so we've got 3/10 to recover still. I'm glad we're down to 3/10, but Verstappen seems to have better pace now. Zero for Albin, and positive delta for the first time today. Even after 2 safety cars. Even under the safety cars, it's hard to conserve fuel on this track for some reason. Pourchaire, meanwhile, down to 0.2, but the gap also out to 9/10. Close that back up. Seemingly back out to a second. Doesn't look like it, as Albin goes around Verstappen. But
And
can't
a
make
new
it stick.
position, just gained by.
And his gap is down to 3 seconds, so he is gaining on those guys. We were at 3.3. Positive delta for Pourchaire. Both have a 0.1. Both have a 0.1. Good. Leclerc is out of the points. He's down to P11. Gasly is now also coming through. Perez has caught up to the back of our group. Can he get around Sainz? And further, the bad day for Ferrari as we have slowly moved our way forward and they are slowly going backwards. Sainz is 7/10 behind. Let's go. Get in there. See if you can make a move on Verstappen and at the same time open up enough of a gap over Sainz to get him out of DRS, which will then hold up Perez just long enough to make an overtake on him. So,
DRS is currently disabled.
we just
DRS
did
is
not have a
currently
battery.
disabled.
And we're down to 50% ourselves. Okay, Pourchaire may be settling for P6 is my guess. Okay, back to neutral. Just like that, we're back to 7/10. We were right on the gearbox half a lap ago. We harvest for half a lap and lose more than half a second. Albin now at 3.5, so he's actually gaining on Bottas. Bottas got around Norris. Less than half a lap to go. Norris still leads. Norris has retaken the lead, that is, from Bottas. And Russell is third and has been third throughout. Albon at 3.3 seconds down. Last DRS zone.
Okay, reduce lift
Last
and
chance.
chase.
We're at 0.1.
Got it.
Gotta keep an eye on that fuel. Gotta keep an eye on that fuel. Got full attack mode. Having a look. We're up beside him. We are up beside Max Verstappen. What can we do? What can we do? We're gonna have a left-hander coming up, but battery's empty. Fuel is right at the end.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
We want
Oh
to leave
boy.
court, please.
And there's an overtake from Williams.
And we've done it! We've done it. Norris wins from Bottas. Russell. Albon 4. Porsche 5. We do get Verstappen on the
Lando
final
Norris
lap.
wins
Only
it.
just.
He's
Perez
back over
gets
the line.
Sainz as well. So Sainz falls to P8.
Thank you, guys.
Wow. Battling
Copy,
with
nice
Ferrari
job, nice
all
job.
day long.
So go in right.
And my strategy to wait
Let's
on
check
that
the
pit
flag.
stop
Check the
paid
flag.
off. Paid off immensely. That 10 laps or 8 laps or so worth of tire life difference. Maybe in the end, I think with the safety car,
What a
maybe it was
pleasure
only about
was to
6 to
watch
7
Alex
laps.
Albon
But
on the
either
track.
way,
And
that
an
6 to 7
amazing
laps
result to
difference
match.
meant that Ferrari going backwards. The hard compound for Leclerc absolutely not working out. Missed out on the points entirely. And Sainz inched backwards at the end of the race, finishing only P8.
Williams have
Meanwhile,
got to be
we
happy
got
with their
up
result
to
here.
4th and
This
5th.
was good work.
Fantastic result.
That's right. They've made
22 points for us, 4 for Red Bull. So we reestablish the advantage that we had in the previous race, and now just 5 races left to go. I'm starting to feel a little bit better about our chances. That underfloor really coming in handy, though, because we still have a pace deficit, but it's closer. And McLaren taking the points right now, and Mercedes taking the points, are closing up. Are they going to challenge? Are they going to get close enough in the last few races? Red Bull struggling a little bit more to score points these days, but we're too far back. We're too far back to challenge Red Bull. I mean, we finished just ahead of them today, but barely. So their pace is just too good. I don't think we're going to challenge Red Bull at all, but can we stay ahead of Ferrari? I was not liking our chances just a race ago. Now, I'm liking our chances a little bit better based on the points, not based on necessarily the car's pace, because we are still struggling in a straight line, big time. And Ferrari very much has that over us. But we've got some tracks coming up. I would say Japan, we might do okay. We might beat Ferrari there. US, I think we might be able to beat Ferrari there. But then Mexico, no way are we beating Ferrari in Mexico with that absurdly long straight. We will struggle through that one. DRS is going to be massive to that race, and if we lose it, oh, you're screwed. Brazil? Abu Dhabi? Those are going to be iffy. There's one race that we are going to get beat hands down by Ferrari. There's 4 races that I think we could be competitive. So if we can just about keep points even through those 4 races, one bad performance at Mexico is something we can maybe withstand. Perez overtakes Sainz by 1 point for 3rd in the championship. Albon is in danger of falling out of that 2nd place, but Porsche, that was okay. That was good. And in the constructors, there is that current gap, as we are 45 points ahead of Ferrari now. 40. That is good. McLaren coming on strong, but they are 65 behind Ferrari. But as you can see from today, they gained 39 in one race. Mercedes also gaining, but falling further adrift of McLaren, who just overtook them for 4th place. Those two back and forth. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Lowest scorers, Haas got a point today. They are up to 12. Aston Martin up to 25. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.